My name is Alex, and for 5 years, my backyard was my sanctuary. Not a metaphorical one, an actual sanctuary. A place where I could breathe, unwind, forget the world. A tall, rustic wooden fence wrapped around the entire yard like a protective fortress. Old? Sure. Weathered? Maybe. But every board, every nail, every scratch belonged to me. It gave me privacy, safety, peace. I didn't know that one woman, one HOA president with a superiority complex, was about to rip that piece straight out of ground. Her name was Linda. And this is the story of how she destroyed my fence, tried to destroy my peace, and ended up destroying herself instead when I built a new fence straight to the center of her precious swimming pool. When I moved into the neighborhood 5 years ago, everything felt quiet and easy. People waved. Kids rode bikes. It wasn't perfect, but it was home. Then Linda became the HOA president. If you've ever met someone who should never, ever hold authority, someone who treats power like oxygen, someone who acts like they rule a kingdom even though they're just in charge of mailbox paint colors, that was Linda. She was the kind of person who would knock on your door because your trash bin was visible for 3 minutes longer than the rules allowed. The kind of person who measured blades of grass. The kind of person who smiled at you like she owned the ground you stood on. And one day, the HOA, under her supervision, decided to build a brand new luxury swimming pool and clubhouse. I should have known it would bring trouble. It was built right behind my backyard. At first, I didn't care. I thought, fine, let them have their pool. Let people swim and have fun. It didn't affect me. My fence kept everything private. At least, I thought it did. The fence is destroyed. One afternoon, I pulled into my driveway after a long day of work. The sun was still high, the air was warm, and I was ready to sit in my backyard, grill something, and relax. I walked to my backyard gate and froze. My fence, my entire privacy fence, was gone. Not damaged, not partially removed. Gone. The posts were ripped out, boards shattered, dirt torn up. My yard stood exposed like an open wound. I felt my stomach drop, so hard it nearly hit the ground. I walked around back, heart pounding, and saw dirt piles, splinters, and tire tracks from work trucks. For a solid 10 seconds, I stood there in disbelief, until disbelief turned into something sharp and burning inside my chest. I stormed toward the clubhouse, and there she was, Linda, standing at the edge of the brand new pool, smiling at it like an artist admiring a masterpiece she created. Linda, I yelled. She turned slowly, almost bored, sipping iced tea. Oh, hello, Alex, she said like nothing happened. Where's my fence? Who gave you permission to touch my property? She blinked at me like I was inconveniencing her. Oh, that old thing, she said. I had it removed. You what? It was old, rotting, ugly, she shrugged. And frankly, it ruined the aesthetic of our new pool area. Now the view is so much more open and welcoming. Linda, you trespassed. You destroyed my property. She laughed, actually laughed in my face. I don't have to do anything, she said. I'm the HOA president. I make decisions that benefit the community. If you don't like it, file a complaint. Then she added, with the smuggest smile I've ever seen in my life, I'll be the one reading it anyway. And she walked away. Walked away like she'd already won. But she didn't know me at all. I could have gone straight to court, sure. But I wanted to hit her where it really hurt. And something in her arrogance told me there was more wrong here than just a torn-down fence. So the next morning, I hired the most reputable land surveying team in the entire city. These weren't the walk-around with a tape measure types. These were the GPS units, laser mapping, digital 3D modeling types. I wanted every inch of my property identified, precisely, accurately, legally. I wanted to rebuild my fence exactly where it belonged. The team worked all morning, 3 hours of scanning, measuring, calculating. Just before noon, the lead surveyor called me over. His face was confused, concerned, maybe even a little shocked. Sir, he said, we have a situation. My stomach tightened. What kind of situation? He tapped on his digital map. Well, your old fence, It wasn't actually on the property line. It was about 5 feet inside your boundary. I frowned. So my property goes farther back? Yes, much farther. Well then, where's the real line? I asked. He pointed the laser pointer straight across the swimming pool. Right there, he said. About 10 feet of this pool is sitting on your private land. I stared at him, stared at the pool, stared back at him. Are you sure? He nodded. 100%. And for the first time since this nightmare started, I smiled. A slow, warm, vindicated smile. Because in that moment, I realized Linda hadn't just destroyed my fence. She had built her legacy, her pride and joy, her expensive, brag-worthy pool right on my property. She took something from me. And now, I had the legal right to take everything from her. I called my lawyer. If a structure is built on my land without my permission, I asked, can I secure my property, even if it means building through something? My lawyer didn't hesitate. If it's your land, he said, you can fence it, you can protect it. Even if something like a pool is already there, it's called reclaiming your territory. That was all the approval I needed. I called a construction crew and paid them double for an early start. Tomorrow morning, I said, 6 a.m., bring jackhammers. The foreman asked why. You'll see, I told him. I barely slept that night, not from stress, but from anticipation. 6 a.m. The sun was barely rising. Birds hadn't even started singing yet, but the jackhammers, they sang. Concrete cracking, dust exploding. The sound echoed across the neighborhood like thunder. Workers drilled into the brand-new pool deck, right along the survey stakes. The foreman approached me cautiously. Sir, these stakes, they're in the water. I know, I said calmly. Build the fence exactly there. He stared at me, then at the pool, then smiled a little. You got it. And they went to work. 10 minutes later, the banshee scream began. What are you doing? Stop. Stop right now. Linda burst out of her house wearing a bathrobe, hair a mess, eyes wide with shock and fury. I took a sip of my morning coffee. Good morning, Linda. You can't do this. You can't, she shrieked. I handed her the survey report. This is my land. You built your pool on my land. I'm just putting up a new fence. You removed the old one, remember? But through the pool? Yes, I said, right through it. One of the workers lowered a wooden post into the shallow end and drilled it into the concrete. Water splashed everywhere. Linda screamed like someone had stabbed her pool. She threatened to sue me. She threatened to sue the workers. She threatened to call the police. Go ahead, I said. Please do. And she did. 2 officers pulled up with lights flashing. Linda ran to them, pointing, shouting, crying. He's vandalizing community property. He's destroying the pool. One officer approached me. I calmly handed him my deed, the survey report, the legal property map. He studied them for a minute, looked at the pool, looked at the fence post sticking out of the water. Then he started laughing. Ma'am, he said to Linda, this pool is illegally built on his land. He has every right to build a fence. If you want him to stop, you'll have to compensate him for the land. Linda's face collapsed. She sank into a pool chair, stunned and silent. For once, the queen of the neighborhood had nothing to say. The fence was finished by sunset. A solid 6-foot wooden privacy wall, cutting straight across the sparkling blue pool like a giant scar. People gathered to stare, whisper, complain. The pool was now useless, completely unusable, unsafe, closed indefinitely. The HOA had to hold an emergency meeting. Residents were furious. They wanted answers. They wanted accountability. They wanted someone to blame. And that someone was Linda. She was voted out of the presidency that same week. The HOA eventually paid $50,000 to jackhammer out the concrete, remove the parts of the pool on my land, rebuild the filtration system, move the pool border away from my property entirely. It was the most expensive mistake Linda ever made. And then they approached me with a deal. They wanted to buy the 10-foot strip of land from me. I agreed for a very generous price. Once the sale was complete, I took the fence down because now it was legally their headache. Linda still lives next door, but she never looks at me, never talks to me, never complains about my yard again, because she learned something the hard way. When you tear down someone's fence, you might discover you never own the land beneath your feet. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because next time, I'm exposing the neighbor who tried to steal my dog. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss that one.